The Dragon King Varathrax had not laughed in 3,000 years. His obsidian throne sat atop Mount Keverus, where the bones of failed champions littered the scorched earth like forgotten promises. Warriors from across the galaxy came seeking his blessing, the Mark of Fire, a symbol that would grant them command over armies, respect among their people, and a place in the cosmic histories. But Varathrax gave his mark to none. Another one approaches. "My lord," announced Kresh, the Dragon King's scaled advisor, his voice echoing through the massive cavern. Varathrax's golden eyes, each the size of a hover car, flickered with disinterest. Let them come. Let them fail. The challenger was a Krillian battlemaster, 7 feet of pure muscle and rage, wielding plasma blades that hummed with lethal energy. She had conquered 12 systems, defeated the champion of Arcturus Prime, and wore the skulls of her enemies as trophies. "Great Varathrax," she bellowed. "I have come to prove my worth." The dragon's massive head descended from the shadows, smoke curling from his nostrils. "Then make me laugh, warrior." "That is the test." The Krillian's confidence faltered.
"Laugh, I am not a jester."
"I am a conqueror." "Then you have already failed." Flames erupted from the dragon's maw, not to kill but to push the warrior back down the mountain. Another failure. Another disappointment. Evan had been cleaning the stables at the base of Mount Keverus for 3 years. He was human, an unremarkable species from an unremarkable planet on the outer rim. Humans had no natural weapons, no enhanced strength, no psychic abilities. They were simply persistent. "You're actually going up there?" asked Hannah, tossing him a clean rag. She was the only other human on this forsaken world, working as an assistant to the alien merchants who supplied the challengers. Evan shrugged, his brown hair falling into his eyes. "Why not? Everyone else has tried. Might as well see what happens." Hannah crossed her arms, her green eyes narrowing. "Evan, warriors with cybernetic enhancements and genetic modifications have tried. Champions who've studied comedy for decades have tried. What makes you think a stable boy stands a chance?" "Because I'm not trying to impress him," Evan said simply. "I'm just curious what a dragon finds funny." The climb up Mount Keverus took 6 hours. By the time Evan reached the summit, his legs burned and his simple clothing was covered in ash. The various alien warriors waiting their turn stared at him with mixtures of confusion and contempt. "A human?" sneered a Vextari hunter. "This is an insult to our traditions." Evan ignored them and approached the cavern entrance. Kresh blocked his path, towering over him. "State your qualification, human." "I clean stables," Evan replied honestly. Kresh's reptilian features twisted in what might have been amusement. "The Dragon King will incinerate you." "Probably," Evan agreed. "But I walked 6 hours to get here, so I might as well go through with it." Something in his tone made Kresh step aside. Varathrax was larger than Evan had imagined. The dragon's scales were like polished midnight, each one inscribed with runes from civilizations long extinct. His presence was suffocating, ancient, terrible. "Another challenger," Varathrax rumbled, his voice like grinding continental plates. "A human." How novel. How pathetic. Evan bowed, not out of fear but politeness. "Your Majesty, I've come to attempt your test. You know what I require?" "Make you laugh." "Yes, sir." The dragon's eyes narrowed. "Thousands have tried. Warriors, poets, comedians from species whose entire culture revolves around humor. All have failed. What makes you believe you can succeed where they could not?" Evan thought about it. "Honestly, I don't think I can, but I figured I'd give it a shot anyway. That's kind of what humans do, try things that seem impossible just to see what happens." "Foolishness," Varathrax declared. "Maybe," Evan said, "but we landed on our moon using computers less powerful than a modern calculator. We domesticated wolves into dogs. We invented jazz. We're pretty good at doing stupid things that somehow work out." The dragon's tail swept across the cavern floor, sending ancient bones scattering. "Then attempt your impossible task, human. Make me laugh." Evan stood there for a moment, really looking at the dragon, at the weight of millennia in those golden eyes, at the loneliness of being so powerful that nothing surprised you anymore. "Why did the dragon refuse to fight the knight?" Evan asked. Varathrax's eyes flickered. "I do not know." "Because he was too chicken." Silence filled the cavern. Kresh looked mortified. Then Evan added, "Get it? Chicken? Because dragons are just big lizards, and birds evolved from lizards, and chickens are birds. So technically you're related to—" I understand the biological classification joke. Barathrax interrupted, his voice dangerously low. Right, sorry. That one was terrible, Evan admitted. How about this? You've been up here for 3,000 years, right? Testing warriors. Watching them try so hard to impress you with their strength, their achievements, their worthiness. But you don't want impressive. You've seen impressive. You're ancient and powerful and probably bored out of your mind. The dragon's eyes widened slightly. You want to be surprised? Evan continued. You want someone to see you not as a test to overcome, but as, I don't know, a person? Well, a dragon person. And maybe, just maybe, the funniest thing in the universe is that after 3,000 years of warriors and champions, the thing that might actually make you smile is a stable boy who has no business being here, telling bad jokes and explaining them because he's nervous. Evan took a breath. So here's my final attempt. What do you call a dragon who tells dad jokes? Varathrax waited. A pun dragon, more silence. Then, impossibly, a sound that hadn't echoed through Mount Keverus in 3 millennia. A low rumble that built into a genuine, thunderous laugh. A pun dragon. Varathrax roared with mirth. By the ancient stars, you stand before the most powerful being in 3 systems and deliver a pun. The dragon's laughter shook the mountain, not because the joke was particularly clever, but because Evan had done something no warrior had considered. He'd treated the test as a moment of connection rather than conquest. When the laughter subsided, Varathrax's expression had softened. You came here with no weapons, no strategy, no plan except honesty and terrible wordplay. Humans. He shook his massive head. You're all insane. Yeah, Evan agreed. That's pretty much our thing. The mark of fire appeared on Evan's forearm, burning bright. Hannah would never believe this story. But then again, that was humanity's secret. They specialized in unbelievable stories. Go, Varathrax said, still chuckling. Tell them a stable boy succeeded where warriors failed. Tell them the Dragon King appreciates a good pun. Evan bowed and turned to leave, then paused. Your Majesty, thank you for laughing. As Evan descended the mountain, Varathrax watched him go, feeling something he hadn't experienced in centuries, amusement at the sheer audacity of humans. Kresh approached cautiously. My lord, what did the human do that others could not? Varathrax's eyes gleamed. He reminded me that sometimes the greatest strength is not knowing when you're outmatched, and doing the impossible anyway. That, the Dragon King thought, is why humans will inherit the stars.